What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Quant today, QNT. The purpose of this video is to discuss the near-term and long-term price action, forecasting where we will be by the end of this cycle. What will the top price be, or at least give a range that's acceptable for QNT to achieve by the end of this cycle. Shout out to Candy Corn for the request of this video. We're doing this for you. It is the 14th day of November. We've got about 7 hours left in this day, my friends. We're down 5% on the day so far. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Normally with these videos, I start off on the short-term stuff. I'll go to the 1 hour and then we'll zoom out. But I want to start off on the long-term first because I think that there's a great deal of potential here with Quant, right? We've seen coins like XMR, XRP, Dash, Zcash, these XLM, coins that have been consolidating for multiple cycles that are starting to come to life now. Quant has not been consolidating for multiple cycles, but it has been consolidating this whole cycle, right? It hasn't really had a bull run yet, and I do believe that this is one of the coins that will pump next, right? I actually have a buddy who's been very good with some crypto calls recently. He called the Zcash pump and the Dash pump before they happened. He's called some other pumps before they've happened too, but just more notably those ones recently. And he's saying that Quant QNT is next on the list. And there's a few, right? There's a few that we all believe are next on the list. But I do believe that Quant here has immense potential, and I do believe that we will see new all-time highs. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this chart, it goes back to August of 2018. I think that Quant has existed for longer than that. We've got about a $1 billion market cap. And I want to say that you've been around since 2017, maybe 2018. I can't remember. Let's just see if it'll load. It should give us all the data here on coin market cap. We're going to see all-time history, price, and you will load. There we go. Okay, so no, going back to 2018 August. For some reason, I feel like Quant is older than this, but maybe not. I've been in crypto since 2015. I want to say Quant was around in 2017, but I can't remember. High to low here. This wasn't the bear market low. This was just the COVID crash, right? High to low, we went all the way up to our 2272. And in fact, with the 2272, it's very common to wick just above there. You typically don't stop at the 2272, but you wick just above there, okay? So keep that in mind. We're at about $1 billion right now in market cap valuation. I think Quant has $100 billion potential, multi-$100 billion potential. From the current price, you could see a 100x or more by the end of this cycle. If that sounds ludicrous to you, from the, what's it called? From the COVID crash, from the low to the high, that's about a 300x that we saw last cycle. So hold on real from the COVID crash last cycle, we saw a 300% growth. Calling for 100x, or sorry, not 300%, I'm sorry, 300x. It was almost a 300x growth, 29,000% growth, right? 29,800. Calling for a third of that, I don't think is that ludicrous. And I know that going from $1 billion to $100 billion is a lot, but Quant's been around for a while. It can certainly see a 100 billion or higher market cap. And get this, okay, high to low here, we topped off just above the 2272. We take this high to the bear market low right here, and the 2272 is all the way up here at about $8,170 from the current price. That is about a 100x. Typically, with the 2272 extension, you actually do go just above it. What's just above $8,170? It's a $100 billion market cap. That's what's just above there. So I very much believe Quant, as wild as it sounds, being worth $86 right now, will be worth over $8,000 and potentially as high. I feel like the Wolf of Wall Street, with serious prospects. I forget, what's he saying in that scene where he's like, it's going to go a heck of a lot higher than that, Paul. He like says something like that in one of those first phone calls where he's giving everybody the kind of template and how to talk about it. But anyways, $8,170. We could go as high as $10,000. Okay, 8,200 or higher by the end of this cycle. And the reality, what's crazy about Quant, you go higher than that. You could see a 200x. You could be worth 20K, let alone 10K by the end of this cycle. Okay, you've got a lot of potential. And I'm not calling for that. My call personally will be $8,200 or more. 82 to 10,000. Okay, 8,000 to 200 to $10,000, somewhere in there. That's my expectation. Could we stop lower than that? Absolutely. And let's just see, if here's this fib, we went to the next fib up. Let's go to the next fib down. What if we go to the 1886? Okay, then boohoo, you only get, I know it's terrible, a 38x. Boohoo, Only a 38x. That's $100 turning into $3,800. $1,000 turning into $38,000. You can make most people's salary, right? And maybe $2,000 will make most people's salary just by sitting and sleeping. Boo-hoo, at a bare minimum, right? Bare minimum, $3,300. Very likely, though, my call is $8,200 or more by the end of the cycle. And that's great. That's all good stuff. That's fun. But what we're really excited about is the short-term stuff, because I think Quant, again, will rally. And I think you're going to see some rapid expansion here, going to your all-time highs from the current price. I really wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year we saw anything from a $300 price to potentially new all-time highs. We could be as high as $600 or more by the end of 2025, if not certainly going into January of 2026. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom in, we'll zoom out, and then we'll wrap this video up. Okay, the 1 hour time frame here, as far as the RSI is concerned, is pretty volatile, but overall bullish. The stochastics would suggest that we're at a low point and we're moving higher. The MACD, MACD kind of is sad, but it's unreliable because we're moving sideways and we're on the 1 hour. I wouldn't weigh on that too much. 4 hour time frame here, finding support around the 50, the same area you've been finding support. You look great. The stochastics finding support here, maybe. You know, the stochastics kind of imply that we could go lower. So if we do see prices lower than this, you're at 86 bucks now. If you were to go down to like 80 bucks or even below 80 bucks, I wouldn't be too worried about that. It's just a better area to buy. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did find support here, though it is somewhat uncommon. Let's just see, do we do that ever? Has that ever happened? You found support here a little bit, but it didn't prevail. The stochastics make me think you want to go lower. And to be fair, the RSI, even though you are at an area that you found support, you have rejected the overbought zone, so you probably do come down a little bit. That's okay. Where are you going to come down to? Let's see, low to high. We'll take this high, not the fake out high. Maybe we should, because that fake out high is a little bit higher. Yeah, we're right at the 382. I wouldn't be surprised if we went down to $80.50 to $75.80 at the lowest. Okay, somewhere in that range. Find support, and then you're looking to move up higher. That probably happens over the weekend, right? It's Friday. We're probably going to do that over the weekend. That'd be my expectation. 4 hour MACD. Oh, the MACD disagrees with the stochastics. It would say that we're moving higher, but again, we're moving sideways. The 4 hour MACD is probably less reliable right now because we're moving sideways. Daily time frame here. And if I'm wrong, cool, we're just moving up higher. That's great. Daily time frame, finding resistance at the 60. Stochastics finding resistance at the overbought zone, and the MACD is right here at the 0. You probably do correct a little bit, but in time, maybe sometime next week, we start to push higher, or the following week, going into the end of this month, we start to push higher. And I would expect, you know, here, looking at the weekly time frame, we have found a macro low, a significant low here. Okay, just like we did throughout this cycle multiple times. The stochastics do look bullish, bouncing off the oversold zone like this. And the MACD, you know, it's funny. The MACD is not really helpful on this time frame either because we've just been moving sideways. You cross below the 0, you're at your low point. You cross above the 0, you're at a relative high point. You cross above the 0, you're at a high point. You cross below the 0 here. In all fairness, you weren't at a low point. You still did go lower, but you're just moving sideways. It's not reliable. If anything, I think you're at a point to find support, but again, who cares? It's not reliable. What I do believe is that from a high here, from an all-time high to your low of the bear market, with where you are, your next destination ultimately will be somewhere at the 786 to the 100 level. So anything from a roughly 200% to a roughly 400% pump should be happening for Quant between now and the end of 2025, over the next month and a half. If it doesn't happen over the next month and a half, it's because what happened instead was something greater. We saw more. Maybe in the next month and a half we're at $800. I really could see that we're at new all-time highs, but it just depends. Understand that once we get a week to close above $326, we likely will rapidly approach $800 to $1,000. Okay, new all-time highs altogether. Okay. And if we're not here by the end of the year, I would expect then by the end of January, we're making headway toward this area. Okay, I got nothing else for you guys. I very much expect a 100x or more for Quant by the end of the cycle. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.